Hello and welcome to the transfer deadline edition of the Footy Fans podcast. Andrew Santo and Joe here on a Wednesday night, one day after the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, all of the above. Transfer market deadline day has finished. Tons of deals were made, mostly them coming in the Premier League, the big ones. And guys, I think there's just nowhere else to start, but Chelsea got their guy, Enzo Fernandez, signs for £107 million from Benfica. That Chelsea only spent half the year at Benfica, coming from River Plate in Argentina. I think the deal at that point was only like $20 million or something. Yeah, the Benfica paid for him. Chelsea splashed the money again, something that they've done all year. What is it now? Almost $600 million spent since August for Todd Boehly and the new management. We'll go through the players team by team, kind of see who made the biggest impacts. But like I said, I think the place to start right now is Chelsea. Is this going to be, I mean, for the future, yes, this is going to be a team to be reckoned with, but the squad that's there now, with a 10-point gap from 10th, 11th place to, the top four, the Champions League spots that Chelsea should be in, is this enough talent for Graham Potter to have the team, make that top four?
I don't think I don't see it for this year happening for them. I personally like the Fernandez purchase. I mean, the money for him, I mean, that's something else I think to discuss, but I think it's a good signing for them given his age and his performance in the World Cup, which I think basically had everything to do with this. I don't know with their purchases if it's going to warrant top four finish this year, just because I think they have a lot of things to work on and they have to start playing as a team and having that real structure. I'm interested to see where the direction kind of goes, because they are, you had that list up with everyone that they've purchased, coming out to almost $600 million. They have a lot of players to choose from. They have, they have a lot of talent. I think it's getting this team to play as a team and mesh as a team and have everyone buy into the system is what's going to be interesting, because you have all these guys coming in. How many
is everyone in blue? Is that the new signings?
I think that's
on the right.
Yeah, I think that's from January.
That's a lot of new people. And that's the thing, like Santo was saying, you could go out and spend tons of money and bring in so many players, but when you look at teams like Arsenal, City, even Newcastle now, maybe even United and Tottenham to some level, there's a big core group of players that have all played together for a long time, and that's why they mesh really well, and that's almost as important, if not more important, than the talent you have. Because at this level, especially when you get to the top of the table, everyone's class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could spend they spent $500 million, right? And you can bring in all these guys, but you need the system and the chemistry more so than anything if you want to get in the top four, because that's what's going to bring consistency.
Yeah, I mean, look at Arsenal. I mean, they've had their huge drive up to be a team to be reckoned with. They haven't made a ton of changes. Nothing to the capacity Chelsea's done. Arteta's just put in a system and put in a structure for them to really play as a team and buy into a system, and that's what's done. That's what's turned them around, really. Granted, they did get Jesus and Zinchenko. But still, it was very strategic signings, I think, and they just fit into the sidewall. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with Chelsea with all these signings. But it's just a lot of unknowns, I think, right now. I do want to see what is their whole team roster looking like now? How many guys do they actually have on the payroll?
A lot. Well, that's the thing we were saying yesterday. The guys that they got rid of, it's basically only Jorginho and Timo Werner from guys that were taking up positions in roster spots.
Yeah.
Obviously, guys being injured kind of plays into that too, like Reece James, Chilwell, Conte. These guys have been out for a long time, but they haven't dropped enough players to make the guys coming in like balanced, if it, like at roster numbers.
Yeah.
I think they've signed upwards of almost 10 players like since August, or close to it. Let's just look at the numbers right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys. Some of them are going to get a lot less playing time than others. Like they signed Andre Santos from Brazil, but I think that's more of like a loan deal, or he'd be sent out on loan.
Yeah.
Some guys won't even make their appearance until June, I believe, as well, because they were acquired in the January transfer. So sometimes the contract will be like they'll be the player coming in, but it won't be until next season.
Yeah.
But I just count off 14 guys, and easily, 7 of them could be starters.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if that's going to fit well with the first team and guys who've already been there for so long. New guys are going to come in, start taking positions from them. But at the same time, those guys that are in those spots right now could have been the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you have to shake it up for a reason. I mean, they're sitting in, 10th place, not because they've had some bad breaks, but because they're playing like crap. Yeah. And they're not getting the results that they should be. And we were talking about just the players coming in and having the coach mentality and kind of change the team around. With Tuchel being there for only, less than 10 games, I think it might have been 6 or 7 or 8 games that he was there for before Potter came in. Potter's coming in with a brand new, different scheme that could be completely different to what Tuchel wants to do.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it yesterday, the three of us, and just saying how it's like an example of, as we said, like presidential or prime minister. So you have like one party that's all for this one mentality, one way of thinking, and then 4 years go by and a new regime comes in, and they have to basically make up for that, last couple of years that were doing poorly, and then change the entire face of like your club, change the entire face of your country for the better. And it's like, do you do it over time, kind of like what Arsenal did with like a slow build of a rebuild, or with the pressure that Chelsea always has with Todd Bowley and new management, and just from the previous regime as well, just being such like a high pressure ownership? Do they want to do like a fast rebuild? And I think just from what they've done, and since August, it's going to be a fast rebuild in Chelsea's eyes.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's just way more pressure on the manager to get these 11 new guys that could be playing in the new starting positions. It's his job to get them going, and I just don't know if it is going to happen this year. I mean, being 10 points out at this point of the season, at the end of the deadline, with only a few months left to play, they're going to have Champions League coming up as well against Dortmund in the upcoming weeks. It's going to be tough to find the right fit of guys to play in these spots. And this is just from the transfer market website. They put out a projected lineup of what Chelsea could look like, and they have Mudryk, João Felix, Fernandez, and Badiashile all in the starting 11, taking up positions from Koulibaly, from where Jorginho was. His transfer, obviously, to Arsenal was finalized yesterday. Mudryk is taking up the spot where Pulisic could have played. João Felix taking up the spot where Sterling mostly played. When those guys all come back healthy, like they're going to be, trying to fight for the spots back as well, which would be good team competition. But at the same time, it's like they just bought Sterling for 70 million last year. Yeah. And now João Felix is going to slide in that spot. Like, what's Sterling have to say about that when he comes back? Yeah,
and even like Ziyech, Pulisic, they're like what are they thinking? As well, like Mudryk comes in, João Felix comes in. Yeah, I mean, I think the writing might be on the. I mean, especially Pulisic, like he's been really struggling a lot to get in the side consistently.
And he's actually been injured now too.
Yeah,
so he'll miss some time.
So yeah, I think we'll see maybe in the summer some more people leaving Chelsea, depending how it pans out this season. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, that's the one danger Chelsea could end up finding themselves in, similar to like what United was doing, like what was it, 5-6 years ago, when it was just like, oh, let's buy Pogba, and then I don't even remember who they bought.
They got Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez, like just buying players, Di Maria, going back to those days. I'm a little worried that they're gonna go fall into that trap. Just like, oh, let's just make another high-profile signing and slot them in. And then that'll get us into Champions League. So we'll see.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. It's like the hardest thing to do, finding that balance of healthy team competition while keeping everyone happy enough that they're playing, right? We'll touch on later with the João Cancelo signing, but City have in a lot of cases been able to figure that out, but you still have it where players, they don't start playing for a little bit and then they want to leave. It has to do with, I think, a lot of the soccer culture nowadays. And that's just kind of like the reality of how things are. You have players that just want playing time. I would, hopefully like see where you see players where they're like super committed to the club, and even if they're not playing a ton, they want to stay because they care about the club. We'll see. If,
those days are kind of gone too.
Yeah, I mean, you might see where that becomes a new normal. Hopefully that happens. But I mean, like transfers are inevitable. Regardless, they're going to be here for the rest of the soccer days that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, with Chelsea, I think it's going to be a big challenge because of all the high-profile signings they have and just the amount of players they have on their squad.
Yeah, and the majority of times that we did see players that are super loyal to the club, it's when they're youth academy guys too. Mm-hmm. And like they were brought up and raised in the culture from the age of 14, 15, whatever it was, when they first signed. And then obviously cracking the first team squad is huge for them. And it's just in their blood from like a younger age. I mean, João Felix has nothing to do with Chelsea right now. Like he could probably care less about Chelsea's history. He probably doesn't even know it. Same with Mudryk. These guys who have just kind of broken into the scene the last couple of years on their own big stage. Yes, they know the name of Chelsea, I'm sure, but they don't know like what the history is like, and they don't know what all the team chants are like in the locker room, and in the crowd as well, and everything like that. So it is a bit different as like to what we're used to seeing with like younger and like smaller clubs, where it's like you really are close knit, and like you would come from like the low ranks like all the way up, kind of like what Nottingham Forest has done or Fulham has done, Newcastle now to an extent too, and they're kind of seeing the benefits of having some money backing them as well. But those clubs are like where you really see like the brotherhood, like I said.
Yeah,
this core here, they're just a bunch of really good players.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea's, I mean, my standpoint, we have to just try and hope that they can play together and gel together, because the talent is definitely there.
Yeah.
Like this roster here I just named off, you stack these guys up against any other starting 11, and it's going to be a tough battle.
Yeah.
You would think. But it just has to, all pan out for them in the coming days. Chelsea has their first game with this squad potentially on Friday against Fulham. Nice little London derby. Back-to-back London derbies, actually, because then they play against West Ham the following week. And then their first knockout stage match against Dortmund, it would be in Germany on the 15th of February. So 3 pretty big games coming up, 2 that are really going to affect the table. West Ham kind of being the bottom, Fulham kind of being right there in Chelsea's spot, or a similar spot in 7th place. Chelsea obviously wants to try and catch them, being only 2 points back. And then, Champions League is a whole different animal. And just, transition over to his side that just picked up a player from Chelsea maybe for the Champions League games. Jorginho leaving London's side of Chelsea, basically going across the road to Emirates to join Arsenal for a £12 million fee. I think this one is mostly for like a Champions League kind of cup ties, because like you're not going to bring somebody in a midfield position and just have him take over what's already a pretty proven core of guys.
Yeah.
Arsenal being in first place, 50 points, 5 points ahead of Man City with the game in hand as well. That midfield core of, Xhaka, Odegaard, and Thomas Partey, you're not going to break that up just to bring Jorginho in on a day-to-day basis for the remainder, 19 games of the season for them.
Yeah.
But it does add some more depth, some more skill. But again, like in Jorginho's point of view, he's 30 years old now. He's obviously proven. You're a European Championship winner, Champions League winner. Do you think he's going to be okay with kind of taking a back seat? Because he's been playing every game at Chelsea. He's the first guy on the sheet for Graham Potter.
Yeah.
In that midfield. Do you think he's going to be okay with, maybe taking a little lesser role at Arsenal?
I think so.
It's tough. It's a really hard spot to be in, because like I said, like he's played every game.
If I was him, I would have made the move, because like I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at Chelsea, but if I'm 30, I'm like, do I want to spend the latter years of my career in Chelsea where it's just like
don't know what to expect?
I have no idea what to expect, or do I want to go to Arsenal, be a squad player of like a team that has a plan, and that's gonna be in Champions League next year? Jorginho's probably thinking like, I can go to this team, I can maybe get some rotation in whenever Xhaka, Odegaard, or Partey need a break. Obviously they're going to make Champions League unless barring a massive disaster, which I don't think is going to happen. Playing the Champions League next year potentially. I would probably make that move. Because with Chelsea, if I'm Jorginho, it's I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if we're ever going to make Champions League football in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to retire and just be like, oh, is that like Chelsea and we were just mid-table?
Yeah.
And I don't know if he really wants that. So, I mean, I would have done it. It goes down to his mentality. It's really down to him. If he's okay with being a squad player, then it's the perfect move for him. If he's I want to play 90 minutes, then he should have stayed at Chelsea. But obviously because he made the move, it's probably the latter. So,
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent move. I do think he's gonna play quite a bit, to be honest, for them.
Mhm.
I think he'll start playing with them quite a bit. And then if he puts in the performances, I think it's gonna continue. So it's gonna be in terms of how much he gels with the team. Because honestly, if he's providing value and he's making a huge difference, then I can see him playing 90 minutes every game and just turning into that guy that's on the sheet. He brings the experience, which is something that we've talked about that Arsenal might need with the youth that they have in their club. But yeah, I could see him slotting in for Thomas in the middle right there.
Yeah.
That middle spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
the
just
way that
making that his own.
Yeah, the way that they do line up to 4-3-3, a pretty standard formation. They play narrow 4-3-3. Odegaard and Xhaka don't really get very wide.
Yeah.
That kind of is more for Zinchenko and Ben White to go up and down the flanks there. So he could play more of a central role. I just don't know if he's going to go in there and overtake what Thomas Partey has done so far. He's been so dynamic for them defensively as well too.
Yeah, he's been really good.
I think, like you said, he might just go in for, I think they have an FA Cup. Oh no, they're out now. The FA Cup, aren't they? Or was that the first leg against Man City?
I don't know.
They lost. We'll have to check that.
I don't know.
They could have that competition as well, but obviously they're in Europa League. They're not in Champions League this year, but they have that competition, and then just trying to see out the rest of the season too. So I think he will just be, a minute man. They'll kind of bring him in when they have to, just to try and maybe shore up the midfield. Because I don't really see him getting other playing time in this formation unless Arteta has a different formation that they can maybe play a diamond in the middle with him kind of more central and put Thomas Partey more back. I don't know. I'm sure there was a reason why they did it because, transfers between Chelsea and Arsenal, they're not uncommon. We've seen David Luiz go there. We've seen Willian go there.
Fabregas,
Jesus Christ, yeah. There's a name I haven't heard in a while. All those guys, they've had the transfers in and out between, two London sides, which is not very common, but they wouldn't have got this deal done if it wasn't going to be for a reason. And Arteta must have a plan to get him involved. His contract with Chelsea was up at the end of this season, so just reading some reports that he's going to sign an extension till at least 2024 with Arsenal. So he'll be there for the remainder of this season and into next year as well. 31 years old. He's seen a lot of experience. I mean, he's probably got the same amount of experience that Granit Xhaka has now with the Premier League, as I would think.
Yeah.
Going to a really young side. He could just be there's a mentor role as well too.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Because you look at the starting lineup outside of Xhaka, everyone is
very young,
yeah. Or obviously new to the team. Obviously, Zinchenko is really taking a leadership role, even though it's his first year. But just obviously the experience at Man City winning titles, just bringing that mentality. But look at everyone else. Everyone's super young, and look at the bench too. If you go down. Everyone's just super young,
very very young team.
Very young team. So I think it is a good move because it's going to be similar to Thiago Silva. I mean, granted, Chelsea, they did have some experienced players, but Thiago Silva comes in and immediately just takes on that mentorship leadership role in the team. So it's probably going to be something similar with Jorginho. So yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he'll go in there and just get the minutes that he has to, when called upon. And I'm sure he's not going to disappoint. He's a very I think he's like a very conservative player. Like he doesn't really make many mistakes. He's a PK specialist.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Except when he's playing for Italy.
Yeah, that's why I said most of the time.
In the
most important
qualification. Oh man, it's tough. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, like I think the last 2 seasons he has like 10 goals. I think 9 of them are from the PK spot for Chelsea. So yeah, he'll be a good addition to them. It's gonna be tough to see him go. He's been there for such a long time. That partnership with Kovacic was pretty long lasting, but now they got Enzo Fernandez for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
or whatever it is, 8 years, to kind of fill that void. Another player that's going to be out for time and a void that had to be filled was Eriksen at Manchester United. Ankle injury set to return towards the end of April is a huge loss for them in their title hopes. What place are they in now? 4th place, 11 points back from Arsenal. But right now, I think their biggest battle is to just retain a Champions League position for the remainder of the season. And their solution was to go out and sign Marcel Sabitzer, the Austrian from Bayern Munich. He's played, I think, 19 games so far. 15 games so far for Bayern Munich. 1 goal, 1 assist. But the stat that I found interesting was that he and Cristian Eriksen have very similar statistics this season when it comes to passes per game, passing accuracy, passes in the final third, chances created per game, and touches per game. On most of these categories, Sabitzer actually has more than Eriksen. And I think that maybe just has to kind of touch on the fact that I think Sabitzer is playing with a better class of people right now at Bayern Munich. Not taking nothing away from United, but I think just stacked up against each other, I would take the Bayern squad over what United has right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the chances created per game, like he only has 1 on here, but I'm sure that number can go up with like just passing the ball to Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
And he'll like dangle somebody and that's a chance created.
Yeah.
But touches per game, 83 to 71 in favor of Sabitzer. Passing accuracy, pretty much on par. He passes the ball around average of 10 more times per game, and passing the final third, they each have 20 on average. So if you're going to, try and find a good replacement for Cristian Eriksen, how about just like basically a clone copy of him?
Yeah.
In what Sabitzer can do, and hopefully he can just kind of slot into that spot that Eriksen was in, because we know that Fred and McTominay in that experiment, didn't really pan out. They needed to have someone next to Bruno Fernandes to accommodate him and complement him throughout the match. And I think, he's a guy that I basically only watch play when it comes to Euro competitions or like European Cup for Austria. But whenever I do see him play, he's always really involved. Yeah, like he's a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's decent. I mean, it's one of those things, like the stats are close. We'll have to see how he actually slots into the side. I mean, there's so much that happens that you can't tell from like what stats read. But you like all you can go on is based off the stats you have. So it's like kind of thing, like you have to rely on the stats. But you always have to like know that things can change. But yeah, I mean, stats wise, looking really good. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he fits into the side at Man U.
We're just looking at the lineups for the Man City game. Still can't get over the Rashford thing.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Never. I've watched I don't know how many highlights of just through balls coming through and players just running after it and being like 20 yards away from the ball, but because they're running after it, the linesman calls offside.
He almost had to avoid the ball. He was so close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like his foot was there about to kick it. It was just funny. Everyone's like looking at like the fine margins, like, well, but like he's like this far away. It's like
if you just look at it,
yeah.
Like if you just take away like the breakdown and just actually watch the play,
yeah,
it's like he was gonna kick that ball.
I've watched who was I watching? I think it was Bayern and someone, and I think it was Mane or Sane running after the ball, and he's like 15 yards away, but like he still gets flagged offside, and he's like, oh yeah, he was offside. This one's just, I don't know,
huge,
massive, crazy.
I think if the game, I've said it before, if the game was at Man City, if it was at the Etihad, that would be called.
Yeah.
I think that had some home favoritism
just
to it.
Yeah.
So like I've never seen that.
And went to VAR, and VAR's like, that's good.
He ran out. He was running. That's the thing. He was running. Now transfer market to VAR podcast again.
That happens.
He was running. He was clearly making an attempt to play the ball, running for like 20 yards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He was the only guy in on goal for like the entire time, and then
Yeah. And
Who-
Ake's
who-
obviously
who came and scored that? Bruno.
Fernandez,
Yeah.
yeah.
He came out of nowhere and like just snatched it away from him, or else he
Yeah.
would have shot that probably.
which is super strange, and everyone's like, "Oh, he didn't affect the play and all this stuff." I'm like, if thinking about it now, if Rashford wasn't there, Ederson probably could have like ran out and got there.
Yeah,
But like because like Bruno Fernandez was pretty far away, but yeah, so like
Ederson would have like stopped his run because he was probably trying to like square up to where Rashford was to take the shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
So he stopped, like he played position instead of like coming up to get the ball because
Yeah.
Rashford was like super involved in the play.
yeah,
Yeah.
But if Rashford like wasn't there, he probably like if Rashford wasn't there and he saw Ake might not have, or not Ake, Akanji wasn't going to get there, and he just saw Bruno, he probably would have made the decision. I probably got to come out and clear this. But because Rashford's there, he's like, I can't do that, and Rashford's coming at me right now.
Yeah.
So
And what VAR come out and say after? Like it was,
they said it was the right call.
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things that was missed. I mean, yeah, it totally affected what Ederson did with what Rashford was doing. So
Yeah.
How
Well,
can you say it's missed?
We're not
When it goes to
now we're
VAR.
gonna watch it. Now we're gonna watch it. Here we go. I love
no,
it.
I think it's just something that both the ref and VAR might have just
Like how do you like
missed the
it's
mark on.
how do you say it's a missed?
I remember watching.
thing.
I was like, I jumped up out of my chair when I saw that it was. It's not even that. It's not even
That's
that.
absurd.
Play the. Why is it like? Can you like play the whole? Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here.
Super. Like, we're just watching.
And like very offside, by the way, too. Oh my god!
That's so funny.
And he's very offside.
Yeah. I don't know why Bruno's like making a huge like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think because the linesman does call offside, right?
like he's 5 feet offside.
Yeah, lines are called offside.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's
I can't believe VAR overturned this. Like he's right there, and Ederson doesn't know what to do.
He's almost on the ball. Like he's literally he
what's-
has to stutter step to avoid the ball.
that's what's super surprising to me because like.
And you could even say that he shields Akanji away from the ball as
Yeah.
well. Like he gets in front, and like not very deliberate, but he gets in front of Akanji
Yeah.
and
And that's
like
the thing.
he shields him from the ball to give Fernandez
There's
I think
opportunity
there
to
has
shoot,
to be
like-
a rule where if a player is that close to a ball and like he could shoot, like you're throwing the goalie off and you're offside.
Well, yeah.
and what's super sketchy is you see Walker. Like if Rashford wasn't there, Walker would have stepped in front of Fernandez for sure. But like Walker gets thrown off here too. Look at his run. Wait for it.
very offside.
Look, Walker for sure could have probably like Walker. I don't know, went like beside Ederson for I don't know what reason, but that's super.
Yeah.
And
So the
just
linesman
from
called
that
it.
point on, you just know that the game's going to go United's way.
Yeah.
They come back, 3 minutes later and score the winner. Of course, it's Rashford.
I mean, good turn there though.
Yeah, that was a good turn. I don't know what Kanji's doing there. He's probably shooken up from the goal, but I'm shocked VAR overturned that.
I am and I'm not, because like it would make sense for them to do it, and of course they do something that doesn't make sense. So like I'm not totally blindsided by it. The fact that it just like we've seen a lot less called offside. Like we've seen way closer margins before of possible offsides where it's
Yeah.
literally a guy's pinky and it gets called offside, when this is clearly he's 5 feet offside.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Clearly obstructs the play.
clearly making an attempt for the ball.
And the
Or
offside's
he's
called
he's
and
like
they
running
overturned it.
after. Yeah,
That's the kicker.
That's-
That is the kicker.
yeah, he overturned it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like it was like a really close offside. They weren't sure. The goal was given, and then they reviewed it and they say good. The offside was called because it was offside, and then VAR overturns it.
madness.
That's just a wild
Madness.
attempt.
What is
That's VAR
do
ruling.
you guys know what like I didn't see what has like Pep or like anyone on City said about this?
Well, Ten Hag said it was offside.
What?
I think Ten Hag said we got lucky on that call.
Oh,
did
he
he?
came out
I think
post and
so.
said that? I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
It's something like that.
And that makes sense. Like he's the type of guy where I think he's just like real about stuff.
I don't
Well, when
remember
it's
exactly.
when it looks like that, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, like
Like you can't fabricate
Yeah.
like a story when you see it like that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
he was just slowing down, and I don't know, like you can't make an excuse as to why that happened. Like, it was very deliberate. And I remember seeing, it was like a screenshot from behind the goal, and it was Ederson coming out of his box to, like, defend the angle. And at one point, the ball's in the middle between Bruno Fernandez and Rashford, and it's like you have no idea who's going to shoot the ball at this point. Like, it's like it's a still shot, and it's like looking at Ederson's perspective, and he has no idea who's going to kick the ball because they're the same distance apart from the ball, and they're both like basically winding up for a shot.
Yeah, Rashford was winding up for a shot.
So it's like, how do you, like, if you're Ederson, how do you know which guy's going to shoot the ball?
Yeah.
So that's clearly, again, obstruction. Like, I think, oh man. Again, even obstruction calls, you've seen like a lot less given before for obstruction.
Yeah.
Whether it be like a shot from the 18-yard box and a guy's kind of in front of the goalie in offside position.
Yeah.
And like maybe,
you know, even if you're just in offside position, like obstructing the goalie's view, it's like offside.
Yeah.
But again, like I read the rules, and the rules are super vague, which leaves it up to interpretation. So they can.
Of course,
like,
it does.
Yeah.
Again, it's based. It's based all on interpretation and like personal opinion.
No one knows. It's so true. No one knows what offside is anymore.
That's why VAR is just like the grossest thing ever made. It's like you're just leaving it up to someone's like thought process on that day.
Yeah.
Because any VAR, like there could have been 3 or 4 different VAR officials that were in London somewhere doing another game that would have been like, oh yeah, it's definitely offside.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way in hell you can tell me that every referee and crew throughout. That's what they should do. They should do like surveys and stuff. Like here, this scenario happened last game. Like, which one do you think was offside or not offside? And I'm sure they'll get different answers.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna be 100% clear cut. Oh yeah, this is definitely offside.
Yeah.
Like, it just depends what crew you have that day, which is like ridiculous because it's just interpretation of the rule.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell everyone would say that's offside. Oh, sorry, not offside.
Yeah.
Transfers.
Have to talk about VAR at some point.
Yeah,
in this podcast.
it wouldn't be a Footy Fans podcast if VAR didn't get brought up at some point. And we haven't talked about this game on the podcast because we have had a lot of time off. I was working.
Yeah.
Just couldn't really get together. But, just the big news now is transfer deadlines. And yeah, I think just going back to, full circle with United, I think Sabitzer would be a good spot, being a good replacement for Eriksen. We'll have to obviously see how he does perform. But yeah, if they want to keep pace, they gotta still get the results. Coming off another big win today, actually, though, in the League Cup against Nottingham Forest.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. So they'll face Newcastle United in what seems like a 90s throwback final of the glory days of Newcastle and Alan Shearer. That'll take place somewhat towards the end of the season, I think, when the snow's gone and the skies clear up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like May or something like that. They'll probably do that.
I
Cup.
think EFL Cup. Yeah, May. Well, when's the season done?
End of May, June.
It's EFL's before the end of the season.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometime, because I know FA Cup is like after the season's done.
I don't know how that posted yet.
No, I don't think. I checked the other day. I don't think they do.
Yeah, May 20th is the last match of the season, so probably before that at some point. Because then Champions League would be after that, whenever that is, like in June sometime.
Yeah.
Newcastle didn't really make any big splashes.
Except for what's his face from Everton. Newcastle, they bought.
Aaron Gordon.
Anthony Gordon.
I keep saying Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a basketball player. I just see A. Gordon. I think it's Aaron Gordon.
I think you said the exact same sentence.
I did. I told you guys that before the other day. This kid just came out of nowhere. He's played in Everton for a couple of years now. Chelsea wanted him last year, apparently, for like somewhat of 60, 80 million, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I think I told you guys last year, I'm like, who the hell is Anthony Gordon? Like,
yeah.
This guy's like, maybe it's like, my own kind of, what's the word? Ignorance. That I didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, you toss a guy's name I might have heard twice in my life for 80 million. Like I don't think that's worth it. Like, I feel like the deal might have gone for 40. I think. Let's see what it was. 45.
Yeah.
Okay.
45 million. 40 million, 45 million. Different reports, of course. He's an attacking midfielder, quick young player. He looks like a Fortnite guy. He looks like Ninja. I mean, he's a good player though. I definitely.
Yeah.
He is an impactful player. I mean, at Everton, obviously, they didn't get the results that they really needed or wanted for Lampard to keep his job. A side note there, Frank Lampard out at Everton. Sean Dyche, the former Burnley manager, is going to try and see them out of relegation. But Anthony Gordon, I think he just might be another piece of the puzzle that Newcastle can use going forward. They obviously have shown a lot of success in the last 2 seasons since Eddie Howe's taken over and since the money has really been there from their new owners. And he might just be another guy that can just, slot into position, maybe, be an impact player, maybe be an X Factor sub coming in. Him being as young as he is, I think he might have to work on some playing time. I mean, for 40 mil, that's obviously a huge move. So maybe with the money backing, he might want to get a starting role right away. But again, we'll have to see how that pans out. And we know Eddie Howe's good at developing young players and talent too. So maybe he'll kind of take him under his wing a little bit more, give him some more playing time, and ease him into the side. But it's just another piece of the puzzle for Everton, or for Newcastle, sorry. And he's going to really help them with their push and try and sustain the top 4 spot, sitting in 3rd place right now. Tie with Man U, 3 points ahead of 5th place Tottenham, 6 points back of Man City. I mean, they were sitting that 2nd place spot for a minute too.
Yeah.
They had some draws, unfortunately, go their way in the last few
3
games
draws
there.
in the last 5 matches.
Yeah, it's tough when you have a side like City that just keeps winning. Obviously, their loss to Man U, we just talked about, was going to really hurt the title chances, being 5 points back now with a game in hand.
Yeah.
With Arsenal having a game in hand, sorry. But as far as Newcastle's concerned, I mean, them only giving up 11 goals this season is a wild statistic. 20 games played, 11 goals against.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen a ratio like that in a very long time. Even dating back to the Pep days of a couple years ago, and Klopp as well with Liverpool, when they were really dominating the league.
Yeah.
Because those teams, they obviously can score a lot of goals and they'll win a game 4-3, 5-4 maybe, or something, 5-3. But Newcastle, it's almost less than a goal a game that they're giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's 1 goal every other game, looks like.
Is that what I meant? Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. You look at City stats, they're giving up a goal a game.
Yeah.
Which is a little surprising. But yeah, they're on track to get into Champions League. They keep playing like this. That's the one thing. If you defend really well, you won't lose a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we're going to see what happens with the title here. I think, we've said it before, and the fact that City and Arsenal still haven't played each other in the league is huge for what this title race is going to see. So that's, it's coming down to that for me, really.
That could really swing. That could literally swing the table.
Oh, yeah.
Just those 2 games, right?
Yeah. Wednesday, February 15th.
Yeah. Next Wednesday.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from recording.
Nice.
Then the return game is the 26th.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Look at these 3 games for Arsenal. April 26th, Man City. 29th, Chelsea. 6th, Newcastle.
Solid running games.
Yeah.
Solid or scary?
What City looks like last 6? Because
I
then their
think
last
it's
3 is
easier.
Yeah, I think they have an easier run.
Well,
They got Chelsea in the last 3, so definitely easier.
so their last 6 games. They got Arsenal, Fulham, Leeds, Everton, Chelsea. Yeah, honestly, their last 9 games are actually it's outside of Arsenal. I mean, Chelsea's probably still gonna be 10th, so we'll see.
Probably. Well, Fulham's top 7, Brighton's top 7 or 8, Leeds and Everton be fighting for
relegation,
so they'll be fighting for their lives. Brentford kind of just chilling mid-table.
Yeah.
It won't be easy, but I think I prefer the Man City schedule.
Yeah.
Over Arsenal.
Yeah, I would too.
And just also April 1st, Liverpool, Man City as well. So the final month of April and May, I mean, 7 of these games are going to be kind of tough. Well, they're not write-offs. Let's just call them that. They're not going to be just written off as wins.
Yeah.
Even though Pep would never, have that mentality, I think. Yeah, but he would probably just go into every game die hard to win, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go to next? John Joe Shelby back in the league.
John
Yeah.
Shelby.
Remember at one time he was like Liverpool's golden boy, or potential new golden boy, and then goes to Newcastle.
Yeah.
He was at Swansea for a while too, I believe.
I think so.
And that might have been like a loan spell or something from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Where's
they
he
signed to
been since
Newcastle.
like?
I think he's been with
No.
Newcastle. He just hasn't really played.
Yeah.
He's going to Nottingham Forest and joining Keylor Navas as well. Ex PSG goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He's going there on loan. Maybe loan to buy. I'm not sure. A lot of those deals in January are loan to buy
Yeah.
because it'll be like kind of like what Jorginho is. He's not obviously being loaned, but he's like you get loaned for like the 6 months and then you
Yeah.
just get bought out because your contract's done.
Yeah.
It could be one of those deals. But I think it's kind of interesting that Keylor Navas is going to Nottingham Forest, so they're really going to try and survive.
Yep.
13th place, 21 points, only 4 away from relegation. That's crazy. From 13th to 20th is only 6 points, 2 wins. Like,
Yeah.
but again, we've said before, like, where are those 2 wins going to come from? Like, unless you're playing at the next side below you.
Yeah.
It's always tough to find points if you're in the bottom 6, 7 teams there.
Yeah. I'm shocked. Like, out of all these teams, I'm shocked. Like, Leicester's still down there. Jeez. Like, I'm shocked. Is Brendan Rodgers still at Leicester?
Yeah. That's one of my
Tough.
biggest shocks of the year. Like, from the season that they had going for them at the beginning of the year, they were in relegation for like weeks upon weeks.
Yeah.
They were in 18th, 19th consecutively, like consecutive weeks. And for him to have the pedigree that he has and for Leicester to be the team that they have been in the last 6-7 years, I was so surprised he kept his job still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're 3 points clear of the bottom, which is wild. From 14th to 20th, 3 points. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's best for Leicester. They like to stick with the guy, see it through. I don't know.
I mean, if he has a plan, then yeah, because like it's Brendan. But like it's the same thing with Everton. Everton brought in Rafa Benitez. They spent a ton of money and built this like on paper really good squad.
Yeah.
They almost got relegated,
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
stink.
and now they're
Back in the same spot.
After all that, we would say.
Yeah,
After
Lampard
all that.
comes in from last year, tries to revive the team, and then they're even worse off now than they were last year.
Yeah,
So we'll see what Sean Dyche can do, bringing in some new talent possibly to Everton. I mean, they didn't really spend too much in the transfer window. It seems like they're kind of starting to try and offload players, like with the Anthony Gordon transfer and some other smaller deals that were done on the side. Nothing big, no big splashes. I think the money's just not there too for Everton. So like even if they wanted to get a high impact player, it'd be from somebody maybe from the Championship, like from Sunderland or Stoke or something. So I saw a couple of guys get brought up from those lower end teams and divisions. Where was the one name here? Harry Sutar from Stoke, going to Leicester for 15 million. 35 goals given up this year by Leicester, tied for second most in the league. That's just not going to.
No.
What did Joe just say? You don't give up a lot of goals, you're going to win games.
If you defend well, you
If
won't
you
lose games.
if you defend well, you won't lose
games.
If you give up 35 goals in 20 games,
Yeah,
you're probably going to lose a lot, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you score a lot.
Which Leicester
Unless
doesn't
you
really
score
do.
a lot.
Unless you score a lot.
I mean, Leicester has 35 against, 28 goals
Scores
for.
60 goals.
They score more goals than Chelsea has so far this year. 22 goals.
22 goals.
I wish you could filter by goals right now. I don't think you can. No.
Well, I mean,
They're
they're
like mid-table for like goals for. Like
Yeah.
they're a +1. Like they're very mid-table.
they're about as mid-table as you can get.
Yeah, they have the closest goal differential to anyone else. Fulham's a +2, but they scored 32 goals and given up 30.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do. If you're Leicester, you got to score like at least 2 more goals. They got to score 37 goals, not 28. They need 10 more goals somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of like Vardy. Vardy hasn't really done anything this year, eh?
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, you look at well, I don't even really know who's on their squad anymore, but like Vardy and Madison, and I mean, they just sold Fafana, which is
Harvey Barnes.
yeah, like Tielemans. You got like Albrighton. like this is not a bad squad. So something's just like, I don't know.
I still love Ian Nacho.
Yeah.
I feel like he should have gone somewhere else and be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Maybe not now.
Now, like, I don't know where he would go. Like, you're just like, you're struggling to get into Leicester City now. It's just tough.
26 years old. But, like, yeah, he's been around the Premier League for so long. Like, he kind of knows how to play in the Premier League. He just doesn't get, like, the minutes, I think, given to him. And, like, when Vardy's there, he's obviously not going to take Vardy's spot, even though he's not maybe in the best of form lately. 1 goal this year in the Premier League for Vardy.
Yeah.
1 goal in 20 matches from your number 9. I mean, that's obviously a huge red flag as to why maybe you're not doing so hot in the table. But, I mean, like, guys like Barnes and Madison have, like, picked the slack up. 7 goals in 18 games for Barnes. Let's throw some assists in there as well. He's always seems to be involved in the mix. And if you're a betting man, take shots with Harvey Barnes. Because I think he usually gets, like, maybe 2 shots per game is, like, what? Like, he has to eclipse for you to win your bet. And this guy shoots, like, 19 times a game. Like, from if you watch a game, you'll see him take, like, the wildest shots. So, yeah, bet the over.
Bet the over.
On Harvey Barnes' shot attempts.
All right.
You'll probably hit on that. But as far as other can't talk right now, relegations. As far as other transfers in the Premier League, the big one going out, João Cancelo.
Yeah.
Leaving Man City, only being there for what, 2 full seasons? Season and a half?
I think it was 3.
3 full seasons?
But the first one he played didn't play too much, I think.
Okay.
Not totally sure.
It's old João. It's old João.
Yeah, João.
He signed with Man City back in 2019. So, yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
This would be his 3rd season. Goes to Bayern Munich. Another one of those loan transfer deals. So I think he'll be loaned, and then the transfer will be complete. Upwards of 70 mil, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
For the signing?
Yeah.
I
think it was 70 mil. Huge number.
Yeah.
He's going to fit on the right side of the pitch, put up on the Daves on the left side of the pitch for Bayern. You know, 2-headed attack from your wing-back play. Obviously, he's going to help them going forward. I think I was reading saying that Bayern's kind of had a hard time creating offensive chances this season and, attacking. And that's going to obviously clean that up with having João Cancelo, a player like his, with his pedigree and his skill set.
Yeah.
But just going back to, like, the Premier League side of things, do you think there's more to it than him just, like, leaving? And I know we said before, like, it maybe looks at something like, look at the fact that he wasn't getting playing time or not as much playing time as he used to get. They're denying rumors of falling out between him and Pep personally, but a guy of his pedigree, like I said, and only being 25 years old, like, wouldn't you want to lock this guy up long term if you're Man City?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say what would have went on in the background, but I think if like the fact that
he's 28 years old,
like,
so he's 25.
nothing's like come out, it could just be like he just wanted more playing time and he wasn't getting there, and I think that's the risk, not the risk you run, but like the reality of the situation when you have like a lot of top players on your team like City where they all want to play, and at the end of the day, if someone's not getting enough playing time, they might feel like they deserve to be playing more and they'll want to find what their next thing is. So could just be that he wanted to play more, but I think it's tough to say if anything actually like happened.
Training ground bust up. I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah.
Who knows? He got an assist on his first game?
Yeah. So he already made his debut in a match today against Mainz. Creates an assist. And yeah, part of the headline says that he had a bust up with Pep in the training ground. But, again, like, who really knows if that's accurate or not, or if it's just, the media doing its job, stirring the pot a little bit. But I think what it just comes down to is lack of playing time, which obviously it's going to frustrate anybody. And a guy who's been there for 3 years now, and Nathan Ake's kind of slid into that spot over time. I mean, if it was up to me, I think I would probably play Joao Cancelo over Nathan Ake.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like what goes on in the training ground and how players do perform in practice, and it obviously translates to game time and all that kind of stuff. Their mentality, their attitude. So maybe there was a coming together. Maybe there was just some discomfort, which again, it happens in any sport.
Yeah.
Guys like, why am I playing? Why am I not playing as much as I used to? Like, go to the coach, go to the training staff, ask these questions. For him, it might have just been an easier fix. Okay, get me out of here. Get me to somewhere that I will play. He obviously isn't going down in skill with like a team that he's joining. He's not, depreciating his value at all. He's joining Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good fit for him. Clearly, it's the results speak for themselves. He's already got an assist in his first match, and yeah, he's just gonna help them continue to be the giants that they are in German soccer. And again, can he play Champions League?
What do you mean?
Sometimes you can't play Champions League for a certain team if you already played for another team, I think.
Oh.
I don't know.
But it might be for knockout stage or something.
Might be, yeah, maybe.
I could have sworn that's a rule. Like if you've already, kind of like what they do for international. Like if you already played for like international like tournament for a country, you can't play for another one. I think for Champions League, it's like similar. If you play for a team at some point in Champions League, you can't be transferred and play for like another one.
Yeah.
That might be true.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's like after group stage.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know. Someone look that up. Let us know. Or we could probably just look it up.
I'll look it up. I'm right here.
Can you play for two teams in the Champions League? I feel like that's a rule because there's something with... Oh, there we go. Can you...
Oh.
What? Only...
Oh, so you can't have like so only like as long as Joao Cancelo is the only one, then he can. But like say like I don't know, let's say Holland went to Bayern, like Holland couldn't play.
It says a player who has appeared for a football
that's
club
what
during a knockout cup, but subsequently transfers to another club, is ineligible to play for the new club in the remainder of that season's cup competition. So I think it's the knockout.
Oh yeah,
okay,
cup
knockout.
tied.
Okay.
So your cup tie is the knockout stage, which they have not played yet.
Okay.
Okay. Which makes sense.
So you should be good for Bayern Munich's matchup.
Yeah.
The competition buying talent players from teams which have already been eliminated. And okay. The cup tied. Because what was the one where it's just like two players? Okay. That was it. Okay. Yeah, I think because I remember that term, cup tied.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Okay. Yep. Joao Cancelo is not cup tied.
Oh my god, I can't type right now. I had slashes in there. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Bayern is going to play against
PSG.
Oh, Jesus Christ. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Maybe the massacre. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Joao Cancelo should be able to play in that game.
It's going to be a tough game. I don't know. Could swing either way, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll do a Champions League preview.
Yeah.
In the episodes to come. But yeah, as far as transfers go, I mean, those are the big ones and the implications that they're going to have going forward for each club. FA Cup, talk about Wrexham real quick. Towards the end of our podcast here, we usually hit on Wrexham, the Welsh side in the 5th tier of English football, owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. FA Cup match against Sheffield United, and in a 3-3 draw at the racecourse at home for Wrexham. The game was broadcasted on ESPN and on Sportsnet for us in Canada. Pretty cool to be able to actually see a game like on good quality TV, because I know you can like stream it if you become part of their fan group or something on your computer, but this was like actually like a national broadcast. And 5th round, I think
5th or 4th?
Fourth to go to the 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's getting nitty gritty time, and yeah, ended in a 3-3 draw. I mean, they had a chance. Sheffield United with a red card. The guy's Canadian actually too. They got the red card for Sheffield.
Oh yeah,
he's Canadian. Yeah, he's born in. I think he was born in Canada, but then he moved to England. He was like 10, so he can represent both England or Canada. He hasn't played any international men's games yet for England. I think he's played like U19s, but he could play for Canada if he wanted to.
Okay.
Once he makes his debut for the actual national team. But if he picks up a red card, Sheffield go down to 10 men. Wrexham takes advantage, go up 3-2 with maybe 8 minutes to play or so. And then they just, 95th minute, off a corner, just late goal goes in.
Yeah.
Tough to see that for Wrexham. And Ryan Reynolds was actually in attendance for that game too. They kept panning to him, and he was like celebrating, and then he'd get all depressed, and he was celebrating at the fans.
That was a roller coaster for him.
It's pretty funny to see that. And the passion's obviously there from him, and the commitment's obviously there for him too. But at the same time, they're also making documentaries, so like he's got to be a little charismatic for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if they could actually see this result out somehow, they have to go back to Sheffield for the return game because it did end in a draw. So that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah,
going to an actual stadium to play.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nature of these kind of cup draws in the FA Cup. I mean, just like a gritty draw is kind of like the storyline. So yeah, we'll see how they go. They handle it at Sheffield, but Wrexham is obviously a whole new team. So if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be them, right?
And they are top table right now too, in the North League, or whatever it's called.
I think
they are top.
I think they have 2 games in hand. So I don't think they're top anymore, but they're.
It's always so hard to find their.
Yeah, Wrexham league table.
Yeah. Okay, You're right, Joe. 2 points back with 1 game in hand.
Yeah.
Notts County.
Did they draw their last game? I thought it was. They might have drew their last game. Oh, no, they won.
No, they're on a 6-game win.
Yeah, they're
at least 6
crushing
games.
it. Yeah, they've only played 27. And
I mean, that's an old. That might have been a different thing. Okay, they've played 27, 2 games in hand, 3 points back. There you go. Plus 47 goal differential.
Yeah, them and Notts County are quite a ways from the rest of the pack.
And like we said before, only 1 team gets out directly from this league.
It's so brutal.
And then the other 7 go to a playoff.
It's so brutal.
Or sorry, 6 go to a playoff.
And then one
give you
gets
the 7th place team and like see yourself out.
And one gets promoted. It's
and one gets promoted.
Crazy. I mean, because what in the championship, 2 get promoted, and then 4 going to a playoff, which isn't like
5.
I think it's 4.
But 7? You could have like
but 1 and then 7 is like
you could have a very mediocre season. Like Boreham Wood is in 7th place right now. They have 10 wins, 9 draws, 7 losses.
Yeah,
and they could just get hot at the end of the year and qualify for the next gain promotion to the next division.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Wrexham is 25-2. And they'll have to fight and crawl to get through.
Yeah,
if they don't win the league.
I mean, I don't know how the bracket works, but I'm assuming if you finish 2nd and 3rd, you get a bye in the playoff. So like Chesterfield would have to play Boreham Wood and Barnet would have to play Bromby.
Or just 2v7. 2v7, 3v6. Oh no, that wouldn't make out then to be 3 teams. Okay, yeah, you may be right.
Yeah. So you don't have to play 2. I don't know. But still. Crazy.
It really is. How do you think our team would do in here?
And then what, 4 get relegated?
To where?
I don't know.
Where do you
the
drop
league,
down from, like,
the league below this league.
I think Maidstone United is where Tatiana and Pete used to live.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think this is like their team.
Okay.
I think they used to live in Maidstone because they made a comment on that. There's like, I think it's like Essex County that they lived in, and it was like Maidstone, which is like their team, which is kind of funny. There's like similarity here.
Could Pete have played like for Maidstone? Is that like?
Well, let's be serious.
I don't know. Back in the day, I don't know.
Maybe the quality wasn't there. I don't know. I think they said they used to like pick up, but it wasn't like these kind of guys. But, like I really do like wonder our team like in this division. Like obviously we play senior men's.
How would you do?
But, like,
We'd probably get relegated.
What would we do?
I don't know. It's probably really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
Wrexham's in this league. And
Yeah, I know. The toughest thing in the world is to really just pin your own team against like these guys, because even though these are, 6 divisions lower than the Premier League, whatever it is, like they obviously are still good.
Yeah, we would get.
But it's like
crushed.
just being here in Canada and only having like 2 now, I guess, like professional leagues.
Yeah. It's tough to
I mean, that's why it's so like
It's
that's
hard
why
to
it's so
gauge
hard in
yourself.
North America, because like it's like college and then pro. There's no like
There's no in between.
where is like Windsor TFC in like the rank of all the leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I like about like. That's what I love about this structure. Like, if you're like Chicharo, even if we were in like the 7th division of the Canadian League, like it's like, oh, if like we win the league, go to like 6th.
Yeah.
And then it's like we.
Yeah, that's promotion.
So, but like you can't gauge. It's like, and that's what's kind of maybe not frustrating, but like, you know, if they had this structure and you knew like, oh, we're in like the 5th tier of Canada, it's like, can we go to England and be in like the 7th tier? Or like if we were in like good enough to be in like the 3rd tier, but just the way it's structured here, like you don't really
you have no idea.
You don't really know. You're just on travel, and then you go to college, and then if you're good enough, you get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
But like you don't really know like where your club team
Yeah.
is at.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
the
tough to
highest level
gauge.
that we can really play is like a U18, and then
Yeah.
you go to college, and then maybe go to CPL or an MLS.
Yeah,
But these guys are literally like senior men's players. These guys are all over the age of 18
yeah,
for the most part, you would think, and like they're just like us. They're like in their 30s, and like a couple guys in their younger 20s,
yeah,
and they're just playing senior men's soccer.
yeah,
But in like a 3rd or like a 5th or 6th division.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's the thing with how it's structured now. Like you don't actually know, and that's maybe the reason they want to change, because like it's tough. Like I forget who said it, but like it's a pay to play system with how the leagues are structured here.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're a 21-year-old something, like you don't know where you stand in your level compared to like going pro, really, if you're in Canada.
Yeah, there's really no comparison.
No.
Like you'd have to
leave.
pay for yourself to go overseas.
Yeah.
You have to hire an agent to get you a trial somehow, and then just like you have to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to expose yourself.
Because I know there was the one, the Ferry kid, Johnny Ferry.
Oh, yeah.
He went to Swansea.
Yes, yeah.
And he said it was tough. Like he went to Swansea and he was just like away from home for a while, like trying to grind it out. And it's just tough because like you have to go overseas and you're away from home. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it changes. It would be nice if it was like the MLS and then the CPL and then like League 1, League 2, League 3. And then it's like, oh, like Windsor League is like this league.
Yeah.
And
if you win our men's league, then you go to play men's league from here to London or something, and then like you go to the States and like go from here to like Ohio.
Yeah.
It's like a league from Ohio to London or some shit. And
Yeah.
you just play all around. You win that, you go to Western US or whatever, Eastern US.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's obviously like a pipe dream. Like that's way past what we would be experiencing at our age.
Yeah.
If it ever did happen, it'd be years and years down the road. But I guess the infrastructure and the money's just not there yet in soccer. Even like in hockey though, like hockey's huge for Canada.
Yeah.
But other than like the AHL and like their affiliates to the NHL, there isn't really another men's league, I guess.
Yeah.
Like there's like the East Coast Hockey League, which is kind of like what the AHL is, but it's on the eastern side of like the North America, and that's mostly like men's that are playing that. And they're getting paid maybe $30,000 a year or something like that. Not totally sustainable for like a full time job, I guess. It's not even it's not a year round job, but like you're getting paid to play a sport.
Yeah.
Still at that level, but if it's getting $30,000 for some guys in the AHL and they actually have like professional affiliates, like soccer's not going to get that.
Yeah.
Like there's no way.
Yeah. I know we were talking to people like to university and they like big hockey fans and like football fans are like, they like the idea of relegation.
Oh yeah. No,
because it's like
talking about a lot.
It's just weird when you think about it. It's like, oh, these teams, no matter how bad they do, they're always going to be in the pro league.
Yeah.
And the owners are always going to make money.
They're all, and like, you know what I mean? So here it's like, you have to perform. If not, like you drop down, and like the teams that perform well, it's like, oh, they're going to take your spot if you don't. So it's just like, it's just interesting.
It's way more incentive based.
Yeah.
Like you just get complacent in professional sports in North America because you just, like you said, you're always going to be here.
Yeah.
Like the team, there is times like obviously where the team is so bad or like the value of the team is so low that they do like sell a team, but they don't like leave. Like they don't, like the city might lose the team, but the team doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they don't drop down and get replaced. The players are all the same.
Yeah.
Like, management might change a little bit, but like you'd think the management's going to be kind of the same, just in a new city.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Relegation is a fabulous thing. It's cutthroat, obviously, Like, look what Everton went through last year and possibly this year, being a huge star like they are. But hey, man, you got to perform, or else, like you said, someone's going to come for your spot.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, you would never, if this wasn't like, how many players would not, like, you think of people like Vardy and Conte and like even Mahrez. Like, they're just on Leicester, they grind it out, and like they get promoted, and now they're like superstars. Like, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone through the N'Golo Conte saga before. He was playing like second division France, and then he played like, I think he went from second division France to like Leicester.
Yeah.
And then like won the league and then went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like within 3 or 4 seasons, he was from Division 2 France to, winning a title with Chelsea. It was like their starting center mid for like a $60 million transfer or whatever it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get the opportunity to get recruited when you have this kind of system.
Yeah.
More exposure for yourself and everything too. I don't know how legit it was, but like when I was 17 or 18, I'm very confident that the site that I used was legit. It was like a scouting site for soccer, right? Like it's a website. You just kind of put your stats out there, your performance, whatever, like your attributes and all that kind of stuff, and then you just like submit it, and then if teams see it or are interested, they'll like ask you to come in for like a tryout or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed legit at the time, but I was also maybe a little naive. But I got a message from like Marseille, and I was like, "We want you to come try out for our team, but like, you got to pay for everything yourself."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this sounds a little sketchy.
Yeah.
But I was like, that, like, obviously, I don't think there was like much legitimacy to that. But that being said, like, it was me putting myself out there still. Like, it wasn't like someone coming to our games and like watching us play and getting a scholarship given out or saying, hey, come join our youth academy team. That doesn't happen here.
No.
We were 12, 13 years old playing at our level, high caliber soccer. Like, we were playing really good at that young age. We definitely would have been like noticed by somebody, you would think, if we were playing in England.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
or like
it.
maybe not us, but like other guys that we played with.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of good guys that we played with here in Windsor, like at that young age where you would get noticed. But there's just who's going around scouting.
Yeah. There's no like
Kobodo versus Tecumseh at like U13.
Yeah. There's no like, and that's the thing. There's no like, I don't even know how it is in hockey and baseball and football, but there's no like, I know they have farm teams, but there's no like academies for like, oh, we found like a really good 10-year-old hockey player. Like we have to bring him into the academy.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know if that's...
You're older at that point.
I don't know.
Like you get, like for college football, you're scouted through high school.
Yeah.
Like you put film out, people go to your games, you get a lot of like notice that way. Your stats are easily more accessible and everything, so people can actually like see you develop as a player, and then you'll get like an offer when you're in like grade 10 or 11 to go to like University of Michigan or something, and then your career kind of kicks off from that.
I know for football it's like a little bit different where it's like, because high school football is huge, so like obviously there's a lot going on there, but like soccer, hockey, baseball, I don't know if there's like
we're definitely bottom tier when it comes to like exposure with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
again, it's like you have to put yourself out there.
If you're a really good 10-year-old, you have to like your parents have to know what to do basically.
Oh yeah,
for
and
sure.
like, we didn't have YouTube when we were 10.
Yeah,
you couldn't just make a compilation video of yourself.
Yeah,
and post it in 2002, 2001, and get it like, recognized like you would now. Like, there's like 11-year-old kids on YouTube that are like making millions of dollars just off their YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
like we're sitting here in my basement doing a podcast about it. Just the difference in what I mean, it's so bad to dwell on it, but like I always think of like the could have beens, like if we were like lived in England or something.
Oh yeah.
Like what if we would have been in England and like someone did see me playing when I was like 13 or something like that.
Yeah. Who knows?
It's always fun to think about that, but it's not very healthy either. So yeah, matchups are back this weekend in the Premier League. Let's see where the good ones at. Yeah, so Friday kicks off with Chelsea and Fulham, followed by Everton and Arsenal, the early game on Saturday morning. Brighton and Bournemouth, Man U and Crystal Palace, Brentford, Southampton, Wolves and Liverpool, and Aston Villa and Leicester. Newcastle and West Ham is the late game on Saturday. Nottingham Forest and Leeds on Sunday, and then Tottenham and Man City, the 11:30 match on Sunday morning, rounds out your table and the schedule. Tottenham City, obviously huge.
Yep.
I'm gonna look at the Chelsea game clearly and see what the hell they do with their influx of players.
Their new team.
Literally have like 40 guys for this team right now. I recommend anyone to go out there and just also see like the new rosters with new players. A lot of teams we didn't touch on did get some guys, either like more lower tier or like mid-level tier players. But I mean, don't count that out. Like, just because we're not talking about them or they didn't go for 107 million doesn't mean they might not be impactful or one for the future. So yeah, do your research on there as well. So it's fun to see, what new guys arrive in the transfer window and what impact they can provide to their club. Yeah.
Cool.
Very good, boys.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank everyone for listening. You can get us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. This will be up on YouTube as well for the audio version. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment on everything. It really helps us in the channel and our account on the podcast platforms. As always, we will tune in next week after all of the week's action.
See you, bro.
Yep.
Ciao.